Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another StarCraft 2 broadcast. Ahnaris here, bringing you a rather unique game that I have recently come across. Now, before we start, I want to introduce the players. This is Blue Terran, whose name I'm not able to pronounce. This should be a familiar face on my channel. Next Sickness, he is somebody that I really think is a great Protoss player. He is just ripping through the ranks of StarCraft 2 players over in South Korea. Really, I would not be surprised if we saw him up there with the top players before too long. Now, this broadcast is going to be a little bit different than the ones you're used to, where we kind of look at both players. We don't watch the replay beforehand. This one, I have seen it, its entirety, and it had some pretty interesting plays that I wanted to show you, and that's why I'm including this in my Scared in Korea series. Those of you who don't know, Scared in Korea is a series where I typically play on the Korean server, and we analyze my builds, my strategies, what I do right, do wrong, etc., against players on the Korean server. Now, I decided since it's okay that I'm not playing this game, because I just found this strategy that I'm going to be start using against Terran, because as I've gotten to play some of the higher players compared to where I am right now, I'm currently rank 1 gold on the Korean server, and a lot of times I'm facing up against mid to high level platinum, I think I've done a couple diamond players as well, versus Terran, and a lot of them seem to just go the 1-1-1 build, and basically it's very difficult to hold as a Protoss, because that attack is going to come between, the 9-10 minute mark, somewhere around there, sometimes 8 depending on the build, but almost every time it's proven to be extremely difficult to deal with. So I'm going to show this, and again, this is not a game where you're not going to find out who wins at the end or anything like that. But this is Next Sickness, and this is his approach to dealing with it. So Terran players, I'm also going to be showing the 1-1-1 as it takes place here. Now, Next Sickness already has come up, he's seen the barracks, he's scouted out the refinery, so he may be thinking that he's going to be facing that style of play. He's opening up with a double gas. Now, this is actually going to afford him some very nice tech options very early. Now we see he's currently running 3 harvesters on both, which means he's not going to have quite as many minerals as he would have otherwise. But you see he is dropping that second gateway at 20 supplies. So you've seen that gas tick up right there. He'll probably be looking to drop down a Stalker first. That's generally what you do as a Protoss versus Terran. But also, he's going to be in a position to get a relatively early sentry, so that energy is going to be able to start building up. We've also got Warp Gate technology on the way, around the 4-minute mark or so. Now up here, the Terran player, he's got his factory just about complete, he's got that second gas on the way, and we see the reactor going down as well. These are all fairly indicative of that 1-1-1 style of play. If the Protoss player were to come up here and scout, he would probably see this barracks. I don't know if he'd see this add-on, but I think everything is sufficiently far away that he wouldn't have 100% confirmation of what's going on. But still, given the spawning positions, it would be reasonably safe to assume that this is what he's fighting against. Starport is going down as well, and we see, as far as income goes, 20-20. So both players are perfectly even on that, and of course the Mule is going to kick up the money for the Terran player. Now we do have one Stalker heading out. We've also got a second Stalker actually coming back here, and a proxy pylon being placed just outside of the Terran player's ramp. Now we see a couple Marines sitting up here. That reactor is now complete. And we see a factory actually deciding to work on some Hellions. So very interesting choice there. That's pretty much just going to be to counter any zealots, but, by doing this, he is going to be delaying that siege tech a little bit here. There's also a medevac on the way, again, delaying that tech lab. We'll see how that goes in a moment or two, though, as Sickness is actually deciding to move up. Now, those things I was just talking about a second ago wouldn't make that big of a difference in this particular moment, but I want to point out Sickness has some exceptionally good micro here. You see he's keeping these Stalkers alive despite the fact that they are very low on health. He's keeping them in the fight, which is really helping keeping the Marine production down. A couple sentries coming down here with a clutch force field, enabling these Stalkers to finish off, just piecing together one of these Hellions, taking that out, leaving the Terran player with a reduced Marine count. Now the Marine, of course, is the replaceable unit in the 1-1-1. You've got your siege tank, you can have a medevac, sometimes you have a Raven or a Banshee, depending on what the player decides to do. But those key units, those gas-heavy units, are the ones that the Terran player really relies upon to the heavy support, to do the damage. The Marines are kind of the cannon fodder for this build. So that's really what you see a Terran player try to replace as they move forward. Maybe the first push isn't quite as successful as he was hoping for, so he's going to get a bunch more Marines and basically make sure those take the damage. Well, you see, keeping the Marine count down is actually going to delay the attack a little bit here. So now we have, or at least weaken it rather. So now the Terran player is deciding to come out here, try to take out, looks like he does kill one Stalker there a minute or two ago, but one Hellion was also taken out as well, keeping those depots down. Probably just to have a little bit quicker access, as now we have, once again, that third Stalker. Oh no, it looks like it is alive. Now it dies going down there. I thought I saw one die a minute or two ago. But these two sentries, I mean, it's keeping the Terran player contained, and it's forced, I feel like it forced the Terran player to build some extra units here that maybe delayed the tech a little bit. So now we see we're at the 8-minute mark. We've got a pylon up here. We've got one over here as well. An observer now coming over, and there is a warp prism coming in. Now in patch 1.4, warp prisms will be receiving a buff. So I think this is another reason actually why I wanted to show this video, because some of you guys maybe don't know a whole lot about how to use them effectively, and we're going to see that coming in just a moment or two. Here comes the observer scouting out the Terran player's base. Okay, sees everything's looking fine and dandy there. Two mules there, and the bunker, of course, driving the Protoss player away. So he's not going to really be able to push in anymore here. He's got an Immortal coming, which is a great choice. Also, you see the Raven. Now this is... he's getting the Raven because it's pretty simple. He wants a PDD. That'll be able to negate the Stalkers, which comprise a large portion of the army. Now look at this War Prism, the position of it right here on the edge. You see how it's actually able to lift up units in the bottom and place them here at the top. So you need to position the circle right there, barely in top, and it is able to pretty much pick up any units around it. So you see now he is able to come in here and do a great pressure play. You see he's placed those force fields to use the depots to his advantage, basically creating a giant wall here. And with this one Immortal here, he's got to be very careful with that. The Terran player sees that. He knows that he is in a little bit of trouble right now. He does not have siege tech just yet. We're at the 10-minute mark now. Again, having this tech delayed really helps out the Protoss player. And here come the SCVs now. Oh, sexy micro. See how he's lifting it up? He's being very ballsy with the Warp Prism. He's letting some of these other units die. Okay, that's fine. The Immortal finally goes down as well. But you see the Terran player is now down a siege tank, almost down a second one, which is pretty much just completely delayed this 1-1-1 play. And more micro with the Stalkers. You see he's kind of using the Warp Prism to get those out. Now the Terran player should actually try to do a little bit more damage, I feel like, to this Warp Prism. It has been placed a little bit too close a couple times, and that's something Terran players can do. This is kind of you'll notice this is kind of the cornerstone of where we're at in the game right now. The Protoss mobility. Oh no, looks like he canceled it a little bit too early there. But he is going to be moving in with two more Stalkers and an Immortal, continuing to bring these units up to the top of the ramp, entirely bypassing the defenses up here. And now we have that siege mode enabled, so he's going to be able to hold off any sort of super aggressive push. Protoss is going to have to be a little bit more careful now. Nice sniping of the depot there. Again, keeping the Terran player delayed. He's not going to be able to replenish anything he's got right now. 37 to 35. You're seeing that gap come into play there. And again, more micro with the Immortals. Warp Prism managing to save these units. Got to watch out for the Banshee, though, as now I believe that Raven is gone. Now take a look at the units lost so far. You see, we're still pretty close. The Protoss has had to rely a lot on that one base aggression, but I feel like he's in a really good spot. You know, he's got the continuous Immortal production, and also we have the Warp Prism trying to actually do some nice micro here against the Stalkers, or the Banshees, rather. Now keep in mind, this is actually a play that the Terran player was effectively forced into. He doesn't have the ability to project the force that he wants to right now, except for the Banshees because of the close-by air position. But because of the timing of the attack, the fact that he had to dedicate gas to the Raven, to the siege tech, to the siege tanks, and of course the reactor over here, then he doesn't have enough for dealing with the, or for getting that cloaking upgrade. A little bit slow in the SCV redeployment there as well. That's okay. He is going to be able to save this again. And I'm not saying... And I don't want people to say, oh, Ahnaris, there's obvious flaws with the Terran player's play. I know that. What this video is for, general guidelines to help a Protoss player in dealing with this style of play that I have at least personally found to be extremely difficult on the Korean server to deal with. Now, Cygnus going for this reactor, not only is it fairly vulnerable, but this is also an important thing with the 1-1-1. Again, like we were talking about it earlier, those Marines are the cannon fodder, and that's what you really want to take out. That's the kind of meat and potatoes of the army. That's what you'll see replaced. So, got to turn that into a warp gate right there. And we also have Blink on the way. Now, keep in mind, all this has gone on. Cygnus hasn't really had to face any opposition except for those two Banshees. So, he's been able to spend some extra money getting an expansion. You know, he's continuing on with the harassment here. Now, this is just really going to work out super nice for him. You see, he's moving in with a Warp Prism, taking out another siege tank. So, this is just sealing the deal in terms of making sure this Terran player does not leave his base. If he does, he is going to face serious opposition that I'm really not convinced he's going to be able to deal with, especially considering the fact that this Twilight Council is about complete. You know, he's got that Blink upgrade on the way, which will really help out. Again, he's shown he is fantastic with the micro, and the Banshees, once again, going to be patrolling around, just checking out what's going on, seeing if there's any opportunity, and also providing some close air support for these units, which will actually now be landing here. Warp Prism coming in as well. The Marines spot it, so that's good. He decides to chase it off. The Immortals coming in this time. Again, kind of a little surgical strike. Pop off the reactor, limit the Marine production, cut that out. You see that he still does not have Stim Pack. Again, that would be another very nice thing to have. He's got this Medevac, and if he had that Stim Pack, I feel like if he had it a lot earlier, he could really be abusing that, trying to maybe snipe off that Warp Prism. So that's something else that you can kind of keep in mind, maybe to kind of transition into. I'm not a Terran player, so I don't have an exact build for how to do that, but I'm hoping that you Terran players can at least watch this video, point out the mistakes in your head, and kind of, you know, okay, well, I can make this change and deal with it, etc. But for now, the Terran player is actually going for, really, again, he's kind of forced into this position. He needs to do some kind of economic damage. We see 36 to 21. Those Harvesters have actually been down for some time now. That Harvester count, that is. And one thing I want to point out also, Cygnus has this Observer right here. He knows what's going on. You see, he's blinking up here. He's keeping the forces very close to his base. And now he's going to be able to directly engage the Terran player, possibly before even unloading this, which will be a colossal mistake. You see, oh no, bunch of units just dropping down there. Again, that's something that is entirely preventable and not really something that you really have to worry about countering. I mean, that's just simple observation right there. But you see the nice Blink micro, again, getting that early, or not early Blink, but getting that moderately decently early Blink has really kind of helped out seal the deal against this 1-1-1, which just seemingly fell apart after the first real solid attack. The Terran player wasn't quite able to recover. Again, he made some mistakes, and I'll let you guys kind of figure out how you want to adjust that. But I wanted to make this video again for a couple reasons. Number one, it's been a while since we made a Scared in Korea, and those of you who know, I'm a Protoss player, it's what I do, and these videos, well, frankly, I mean, they do kind of give general strategy, strategic input, and analysis, but it does focus on Protoss, and also, I'm a huge fan of Next Cygnus. You guys have seen his games. You saw the recent one versus Storm. You know this guy is a killer player, and I really want to get this guy some more showtime, and effectively, you know, promote him, build him up, and, well, now you see right here, he is definitely, at least I feel, worthy of some attention. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, got something out of it. Again, not really a traditional cast, more of a teachy type thing, but I hope you like it. If you do, hit that thumbs up button, and of course, leave a comment. And if you want to get more videos, I will be doing more Scared in Korea. I promise, I'm holding my hand up right now. You can actually subscribe. You'll get daily updates as far as stuff goes. I also have a Facebook page. You can check that out, as well as a second channel, which you can find in the video description. All that stuff's in the video description. So I'm going to shut up, let you guys get back to practicing. Keep being awesome. I'll see you next video.